It's time for my NFL picks for week 15 as we are coming off another fantastic week together. My top 2 official betting tips from last week generated a win and a push, while the 5 leans produced a solid 4-1 record. So overall, we obtained a 5-1-1 record across all betting plays. I'm Professor MJ, a 15-year university statistics teacher from Canada. I have 5 NFL picks on the menu for you in this week's video, so get ready to take some notes. My first official football pick for week 15 is the Pittsburgh Steelers plus 3 points playing in Indianapolis. I suggested this bet Tuesday at noon, and at that time the corresponding odds were minus 115 in American format, or 1.87 in decimal, as you can see on your screen right now. If your bookie has a 2.5 point spread, I recommend buying the half point for extra protection. First of all, the Steelers get 3 additional days of rest and game plan for this key matchup since they played last Thursday. They're coming off 2 ugly home losses against the Cardinals and the Patriots. To me, going on the road is the best thing that could happen to Pittsburgh because they will feel less pressure, especially on the offensive side of the ball. I believe Pittsburgh's defense will cause Gardner Minshew some headaches. The latter has been fading lately, as shown by the fact that he has tossed 3 TDs versus 3 interceptions over his past 4 matches. That's not good enough. Granted, I am worried about the status of TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Both have entered the league's concussion protocol, so it's unclear whether they will be able to suit up or not. I hope at least one of them gets a chance to play, but I invite you to monitor the situation as the week progresses. The Colts imploded last week. They lost a key game in Cincinnati by a 34-14 score. In reality, the offense only generated 7 points because one of the team's 2 scores occurred on a pick 6. Ultimately, I believe Pittsburgh's defense and running game will carry them to victory. The dynamic duo of Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren will do enough damage to control the game and give the Steelers the W. Or at worst, they might lose the game by a maximum of 3 points, in which case our bet would not lose. Let's move on to my second NFL pick for week 15, which is the Minnesota Vikings plus 3.5 points in Cincinnati. Nick Mullins has been named the starting quarterback for the Vikings. That's good news because he has looked much better than Joshua Dobbs, whose level of play has completely collapsed in recent weeks, much like he did with the Cardinals earlier this season. One thing I like about Mullins is that he is a gamer. He gives everything he's got for the team. I think the offense will rally around him. He has shown to be a pretty accurate passer on intermediate throws. Justin Jefferson's return on the field was short-lived. He suffered a chest injury and was taken to hospital last week. However, he says he should be good to go for this pivotal match against the Bengals. On Cincinnati's side, Jake Browning has proven that he is not a one-game wonder. He performed at a high level again last week. So far this year, he has completed 79% of his passes, which is remarkable. Still, the Bengals' defense is much weaker than Minnesota's. Both teams are desperate for a win, so I expect a dogfight that might come down to the wire. In that case, I often prefer to side with the underdog. I find it unlikely that the Bengals will win this game by a margin of 4 points or more, so I will take the Vikings and the extra 3.5 points. Here comes my third official NFL pick for Week 15. I am grabbing the Tampa Bay Bucks plus 3.5 points in Green Bay. The performance of Matt LaFleur's squad last Monday has me worried big time. The Packers lost a key game that they needed to win by a 24-22 score against Tommy DeVito and the New York Football Giants. During that game, we saw the Green Bay team that we observed during the season's first 8 weeks, a period of time where the Packers posted a 2-5 record. Last Monday, Jordan Love was wildly inaccurate on many occasions. This won't be an easy game for Green Bay against a desperate Tampa Bay team that is trying to win the weak NFC South division. Under normal circumstances, you could argue that a Tampa team playing in Green Bay in December is very bad news for the visiting team that's used to play in warm weather. However, keep in mind who is under center for the Bucks: Baker Mayfield. He played for the Browns for 4 years, so he knows what it's like to play in cold weather. Tampa could take advantage of Green Bay's porous run defense. Indeed, the Packers are the second worst team in the NFL in terms of rushing yards allowed per game. Meanwhile, Rachaad White has looked stronger as the season has gone on. After failing to top 80 rushing yards in each of his first 10 games of the season, he has now topped this mark in all of his 3 most recent contests. I have to admit I'm concerned by the fact that the Bucks will be on the road for the 4th time in 5 weeks. However, this could be offset by the Packers losing 1 day of preparation after playing last Monday. To me, the line is too high. I think this game will be very tight, with the Bucks possibly even pulling off the upset given how shaky the Packers have looked last week. I already mentioned how Tampa Bay is likely to be able to move the ball well on the ground, but they could also have success through the air after seeing Tommy DeVito throwing the ball well against the Packers. So, in summary, give me the Tampa Bay Bucks plus 3.5 points at Lambeau Field. Mayfield has thrown 5 interceptions in 2 games in that stadium, but he will fare much better this time around in such a critical game for both clubs. Would you like me to add a couple more picks? The following 2 betting tips are not official wagers though. In my opinion, they are borderline acceptable. Personally, I won't bet them, but you could use the information I provide to help you in your decision-making process. My first lean goes to the New Orleans Saints laying 6 points at home against the Giants. Congratulations to New York for winning 3 straight games, but the feel-good story ends Sunday. The Saints are obviously more motivated since they are in the thick of the playoff race, unlike the Giants, who have nothing to play for. New York gave an outstanding effort in front of their home crowd, but I expect a letdown game after such an emotional victory on Monday Night Football against the Packers. Tommy DeVito has been a great story, but he will find it difficult to move the ball in a tough road environment. It gets very loud in New Orleans, so I think the Saints' defense will suffocate them and sack DeVito numerous times. The Giants lose 1 day of rest after playing last Monday, while New Orleans will be at home for the 3rd consecutive week. Give me the better rested and more motivated club, the Saints, to destroy the Giants by a margin of at least 6 points this weekend. My second unofficial pick goes to the Buffalo Bills minus 1.5 points against Dallas. Both of these teams have looked very different whether they played on the road or at home this year. As dominant as they have looked at home in 2023, the Cowboys have not had nearly as much success as the visiting team. In fact, they have posted a disappointing 3-3 record, including a loss to the lowly Cardinals. What? The only 2 times they faced a team with a winning record on the road, the Cowboys failed. Meanwhile, the Bills have played at a high level at Highmark Stadium, as shown by their 5-1 record in that stadium. In those games, the defense has surrendered just 14.5 points per game on average. They have continued to do a very decent job despite losing Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White to injuries. James Cook has been a big beneficiary of the offensive coordinator change. As a matter of fact, he has exceeded 100 total yards in each of his past 4 games. It seems like Joe Brady knows how to utilize him very well. Even though the weather forecast does not anticipate a super cold afternoon, it will still feel pretty cold for Cowboys players. They clearly prefer to play in warm weather or in a dome, which won't be the case this Sunday. So I am cautiously backing the Bills in this game. They are certainly the most desperate team fighting for their playoff lives, while Dallas is playing more for seeding. I am unlikely to pull the trigger on this bet, but if you force me to place a wager on this game, I would go with Buffalo. Since week 10, my picks on sides and totals have generated an 18-6-1 record against the spread, a 74% success rate. And as far as player prop bets are concerned, we've been printing money, as is the case every single season. So far this year, we have obtained 58 wins and 37 losses on those types of bets for a gain of more than 14 units. The picks presented in this video only represent a fraction of all the bets I make. Let me help you grow your bankroll by signing up at mjpicks.com. I'll be happy to send my data-driven betting picks via email and SMS to you, my friend.